this attorney. Now, granted, there are billable hours left in the complaint, in where some of your state case law needs to be brought in and the exhibits need to be attached. But other than that, 90% of all the legwork, all the investigative work is done. And for the attorneys who don't have their minds completely wrapped around this, keep in mind these auditors are expert witnesses. They don't have to adjudicate these cases. All you got to do is get your witness on the stand and let them tell this statutory story. The opposing counsel will try to disqualify the witness. In the process, they will by far qualify them. Okay, you've got 15 years in the lending industry. You've worked for Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan, yada, yada, yada. And, oh, look, National Association of Mortgage Underwriters has certified you to audit. Okay, you are clearly qualified. The difference between a competent fact witness and an expert witness is very, very important. A competent fact witness is the guy standing on the corner who witnesses an auto accident, and he can testify to the fact that, yeah, the yellow car ran the red light and hit the blue car. What he cannot testify to is why. An expert witness can. An expert witness, let's say that, to put this in a kind of a visual concept, opposing counsel, if they do their homework, they're going to look at these auditors as living hand grenades. My question to opposing counsel, do you want to pull the pin on this thing? Are you serious? Or do you really want to depose my witnesses? These are the guys that are going to sink your boat in front of 12 other homeowners. What do you think these homeowners are going to do when they get out of court that day? They're going to go home and look at their own mortgage. Our process gets very, very nasty, very, very quick.
Because after all, that's what they've done to you. I mean, so why not get nasty back?
That's right.
And that is what has to happen. It has to put them on the defense for a change, because it wears people out always being on the offense.
Thank you. Well, actually, you're kind of half right. It puts people on the defense, and anybody that's ever been in a fist fight should know intuitively that you're not going to defend your way out of a fight. You're going to get your butt kicked.
Right.
You've got to get aggressive. You've got to be the aggressor.
Yes.
The only way you're going to win your case is to be either a plaintiff or a counter plaintiff.
Yeah, that's what I liked when I've seen that complaint. We finally changed gears, and it helped. I seen it help my sister. It gave her that little bit of courage to, raise her shoulders up a little bit now and say, "Hey, I am right. I have a right to fight for my home."
Yes, you do. We call it the castle doctrine here in the state.
I like that term.
There is a legal term. There is a legal term called "stand your ground." And I
like
encourage
that
everybody to look into that and do exactly that. By God, stand your ground.
Yeah, and I do. I tell everybody after what I saw, because she would have been out of here in May. She would have been removed from the home. I came down from Idaho because I just kept hearing all these things, through my mom. Well, it's in foreclosure. Then I'd get a call, and I was angry. I was really angry that she would lose our family farm. And then when I got down here and looked and listened to what she was saying, I kept saying, this isn't right. This isn't right. And then we get to digging and find out all the little discrepancies here that started at day one, really. And then it just kept getting heavier and heavier. And then we had more of what you say, the robo-signers. When they entered the picture, it was almost like all hell broke loose then. It was just a feeding frenzy.
Well, and then the story that gets put out is that every one of these people across the country that's having difficulty with their home mortgage and making the payments is a deadbeat. And that's the story that's put out continually. When you go and you start doing the digging, these are people that have paid their bills all of their lives. Yep. They went and they wanted to do something to their home. They're trying to put a kid through college or something like that, and go in and refinance their home, get a mortgage, and what they were told was going to be in that mortgage, in the end, is not in that mortgage. The figures are inflated, the mortgage amounts are inflated, all of this, and they're in a position they can't pay it. And when the economy just happens to fall apart, and lo and behold, we're all just sitting here. Everybody and the homeowners left holding the bag, and these guys come back in, sweep, and steal all the property back. knowing they're going to get an opportunity to do it again. Everybody stay right there. We got a quick break coming up here. Back in just a minute with more here on the Mike. Third hour of the Mike Chambers radio program here on this Tuesday. And we've got Steve Skidmore of Endless Fraud Detection and Vickie from California. We're talking about foreclosures. And if you're sitting there and you're listening to this, you're in a situation where your home's about to go bye-bye because of foreclosure, and you got to find out what's going on. You have to know what first off, where you stand. Is the note real? And quite honestly, chances are it's not, because I think nearly every mortgage since about the year 2000 has gone through this MERS Corp. So chances are you've been paying somebody for a whole lot of nothing for quite some time. And if nothing else, you got to find that out. And in Vickie's case here, they're fighting just to save their home and to be able to stay in their family farm. How long has this property been in your family, Vickie?
Well, the property's actually been in our family with the actual deed and property ownership for over 100 years now. Previous to that, my great-great-grandfather and grandmother lived here. Our little Indian village was just 2 miles, not even 2 miles down the road, down this creek. So basically, my grandmother was born here. I think she'd be probably about 110 years old now if she'd have lived that long. So we've known this forever. This has just been home.
Was it homesteaded originally?
Well, originally I believe Grandpa did homestead it, and then when my dad took it when he died, I think that left, and then nobody ever actually put a homestead back on it.
Wow.
But we lived here. The family lived here before this whole block of ground was ever divided up and actually sold. But he just went ahead and bought it, even though he was still here because he was helping with getting this county going. He, in the early years, he helped with the wheat mill and the schools, and just to get this county established. So it's like we've never really known anything else. When you think of home, this is home.
Right. Yeah. And to think that these thieves can come in and basically steal it, because that's essentially what we're seeing here, is that they can come in and just literally steal it right out from under you.
Oh, yeah, and that's what'll happen. It'll sit here. In this small county, there's been 862 foreclosures. There's 182 on the market right now that have actually been cleaned up and ready to resell. I don't know how many are just sitting there like this place would be. It's not ready to sell. I mean, this place needs a lot of work. It's a very old house. The house used to be used as a barn, in fact, and they redid it over to make it into a house again after years. But the fact is, it's going to sit here and just decay and rot. It's going to bring down everybody's property value. Glenn County is going to be the ones that suffer because property values will decrease, so will their taxes. Everyone stands to lose when this happens in their community. And so it really is everybody's fight. I think that everybody that is a homeowner should pay very close attention to what has been transpiring and how far it's really gotten. Without some sort of an entity or judicial system actually stepping up to the plate and saying, no, fraud is fraud. We will not condone this any longer, and it's going to stop here.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. All right, another break here. We'll come back in just a minute with more. Stay with us here on the Mike Chambers radio program. Back here on the Mike Chambers radio program, and talking about home foreclosures, and I know that a lot of people that say, well, I rent. Well, guess what? The person you rent a home from, it can happen to them, and believe me, when it happens to them, it happens to you. You're screwed too, because you're in the end going to be looking for a home, a place to live. So this is important that everybody knows what's going on. This is happening across the country in every one of the 50 states. They'd slowed down a little bit, but Steve, they're starting to ramp this right on back up again.
To a degree. Now, there have been, along with these orders from the OCC, and the article that we started off with in the last hour that I read a couple of paragraphs from, these consent orders are coming from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the Office of Thrift Supervision, and the Federal Reserve Board. So you got some pretty heavy hitters coming into this situation, putting cease and desist orders on these banks for foreclosures. Is it working? No. The bank's omnipotent power just keeps rolling forward. The only thing that I have found that will stop a foreclosure is to file suit. Period.
Is to sue them.
Yes. You got to get something filed against them. You got to get a complaint filed into court against them, whether you're the plaintiff or a counter plaintiff. You got to get something filed.
And see, that's what we've done here. Is we have filed a complaint. The problem is that the complaint will be no good if we can't find any way to serve the bank that we're complaining against.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now in your state, do you have the ability to serve by publication if you cannot find a service agent?
That I don't know. I think we still have to serve, but
yeah,
if we can't find them.
I'm not an attorney, and your mileage may vary. And avoid where prohibited by law, and don't take after 6 p.m. And if erection lasts more than 4 hours, can see a doctor. But I know here in Oklahoma, if you're not able to find somebody to serve, then usually the judge will give you the opportunity to go and serve via publication, and you post the notice in certain publications for a certain amount of time, and then you take it into court, and if they're not there, then you win.
Yeah, that bird doesn't fly over Texas, and I doubt that it flies over California either.
Yeah, it just seems like it has to be personal service. I just read it somewhere. I don't.
Okay.
Vickie, I'm not trying to offer legal advice by any means, but you might consider starting with the people you send your payments to.
Okay.
They're the ones claiming to be the holder or acting on behalf of the holder. So notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent.
Now, I was reading in some of this law stuff. I spend a lot of time driving to the other side of the valley here because it's the only law library is an hour and a half away.
Great.
And while there, I copied a bunch of stuff, and I've been going through it. But what I'm finding here is several times, it's contradictory in this law book I'm reading, because in several places it states that we cannot actually, you can never serve the trustee. They're just there in a capacity to oversee things, and that really there's no substantiated claim against them. Then in another place I see that you must serve the trustee and the beneficiary. So, those kind of things really send me for a loop because I don't know which way to go. I just kind of rule on the side that I'm going to serve as many people as I can, and then the judge will just have to throw them out.
Just let God sort them out.
That's right. God can just sort this mess out because I can't.
Yeah, that's got to be. I know that's going to be frustrating for you because you're coming in this at this and trying to play at a game that you don't know a lot about. You've done research, and you're great at doing the research, but when you put all this together, what do you do with it?
Oh, I'm out of freezer paper. It's the wall's covered, and it's just I lay there and I look at this stuff at night. I've got it in my bedroom, and I lay in bed and I look at this. And the other night I was laying there just about in tears.
Yeah.
And when I noticed what had actually transpired, and I was looking at the deeds at the end there at the trustee sale where Deutsche Bank bought it back for $171,000, the day before my sister had received this 1099 form in the mail that she has to now pay taxes on the difference of what Deutsche Bank claims was their loss. So now, on top of not only getting bailout money several times through the course of all this interchange that they did with these deeds,
right?
Defaulted paper. I mean, they're trading defaulted notes is what they're doing.
Right.
And they're getting bailed out on it, so they get paid there, and then they get paid at the next step. Well, now, not only that, they get to write it off as a tax loss, and it just hit me just really wrong laying there thinking about all the things that transpired, and now in the end, not only did they get bailout money twice on the same deed of trust, now they actually get to write the dang thing off their taxes. And they were the seller and the buyer at the trustee sale,
And in the process, they're defrauding the IRS.
Yes. Because it's just, I think I used this example on Sunday's call. It would be like, I want to go talk to the district attorney, but I have so much paperwork to do for Monday that I'm not going to get to go see him. But, if I had a car lot and I had this classic car and I put it out on my car lot for $10,000, nobody comes by. I have balloons on it and it's a big deal. Nobody comes. At the end of the day, I walk out and I buy that car back for $5,000, turn around and write $5,000 off on my taxes. I honestly don't believe that that would be a legal strategy that the IRS